We have been seeing the Stranger Things cast performing excellently on screen, from being kids to becoming adults now. They have been doing this consistently for almost 10 years, ever since season 1 began. But do you know that they have had to follow certain rules on set? Rules that may seem simple from the outside, but are actually very tough to follow year after year. Some rules are funny, some uncomfortable, and some are extremely strict. Make sure to stay with me till the end to know all of them. Trust me, this is going to be a really interesting one. Stranger Things director puts a strict rule that every actor has to maintain their physical shape until Stranger Thing ends. But that does not only mean staying fit, it doesn't mean they should have big muscles and six-pack abs. In fact, they are not supposed to. Stranger Things is set in the 1980s, when teenagers did not look like modern-day superheroes. Their bodies were more natural, less chiseled, and more ordinary, so cast members were told to look like regular kids from the 80s, not like action stars. Speaking about this, there are two people who really struggled with it. The first is Billy Hargrove, played by Dacre Montgomery. He joined the show in season 2 as the violent older brother of Max Mayfield. When he appeared on screen, a lot of fans noticed he was physically strong, but the truth is, he actually had to tone down his physique. The same year season 2 came out, he also acted in the Power Rangers movie in that film. He played Jason Scott, the Red Ranger, and he looked very ripped, with defined muscles and a superhero body. So why did he need to change his looks for Stranger Things? Because most teenagers in the 80s did not have bodies like that. So he had to increase his carbs and do lighter training to look more natural, more like a normal young man and less like a Power Ranger. He even said that Billy is a chunkier, more muscly version of himself, so he had to change his lifestyle for the role. And then we have Joe Keery, the actor who plays Steve Harrington. His story goes in the opposite direction. While Dacre had to reduce his muscles, Joe actually trained very hard because the Duffer Brothers told him Steve was originally supposed to be a swimmer. They said he would appear in a Speedo, so Keery took it seriously and spent around 6 weeks swimming and training to build a swimmer's body. But here comes the twist. When filming began, they told him that the swimming part had been canceled. His character would no longer be a jock swimmer. Joe Keery said this was the most in shape he had ever been in his life, and suddenly it was unnecessary. Since we are talking about Steve, let's talk about the rule he had to follow for his hair. The 80s were known for iconic hairstyles like perms and mullets. Steve Harrington became famous not only for his character arc, but also because of his amazing hair. That hair became part of his identity, and because of that, Joe Keery was not allowed to get a haircut without special permission. He couldn't just walk into a salon whenever he wanted. Everything had to be approved by the show. Even styling his hair wasn't up to him. He rarely touched it. Sarah Heinsgall, the show's head of the hair department, was responsible for it. She used a special technique she called the cat paw. She would apply product to his hair and then squeeze it like a cat pawing at something. This created his signature waves and texture. In 2022, Joe Keery said that he does not have control over his hair. It is something people on the internet attach to him. But at the end of the day, he said he just accepts it because it helped him build a career in Hollywood. Now, we have to talk about Eleven. In seasons 1 and 2, Millie Bobby Brown shaved her head for the role. She was very young, so it was a huge commitment. But from season 4 onward, things changed. She did not shave her head anymore. Instead, Hinskull and her hair team created a wig. A very difficult one, because it had to look as short as a shaved head, something wig experts believed was almost impossible. But they managed to create a wig that fit perfectly and looked completely natural. Because they spent years working with Millie, they understood her head shape and face structure well enough to pull off the design. By season 4, nobody could tell that she wasn't actually shaving her head, because the wig looked so real. Now, let's talk about makeup. Actors in Stranger Things have to spend a long time in the makeup chair before shooting. Even if they are not wearing fake injuries or monster blood, they still need makeup that fits the 1980s look. The makeup department has to make sure every detail is correct. Because of this, actors were required to arrive with clean, bare faces. There was one moment that really proved why this rule matters. Ross Duffer said that one day Millie Bobby Brown came to set covered in glitter. She had glitter all over her body. Nobody knew where it came from, and it became a problem. Removing glitter is not easy. It sticks to skin, clothes, hair, everywhere. The team had to stop filming for around 45 minutes just to clean her up. She was only 11 years old back then, so they did not punish her. But after that day, glitter was absolutely banned from the set. Another important rule is about the clothes. Since the show is set in the 80s, everyone must wear clothing that looks correct for the time. Sometimes those clothes are not newly made, but true vintage pieces. For example, the colorful jumpsuit Eleven wore in Season 3 was an original, one-of-a-kind piece. There was only one of them. Usually, productions have multiples of each costume to use in case of damage, water scenes, stunts, or just general wear and tear. But this jumpsuit was so unique that they had to be extremely careful with it. Joe Keery once said that 80s jeans felt like wearing a baseball glove, very tight and very stiff, making it difficult to move. Also, they were even advised to wear them even at home to get adopted to it. They also have a rule that no one should speak badly about their co-stars in public because it keeps the show's image positive and helps everyone work together smoothly. For example, when rumors came out that Millie Bobby Brown had made a complaint about David Harbour, she didn't say anything negative. At the red carpet event, she only spoke kindly and said their on-screen father-daughter bond was very special. The food on set could be uncomfortable too. Many scenes involve eating, but because filming takes a long time, by the time cameras roll, the food is no longer fresh. Actors have to eat cold burgers, soggy fries, or whatever food is used. They don't have the luxury of hot meals when filming food scenes. This is something they had to get used to. Another strict rule is keeping the plot secret, not just from fans, but also from family and friends. The cast received guidelines explaining what they could and could not talk about in interviews. They were told exactly which questions to avoid. Netflix is very serious about this. Even the early copies of episodes they receive are password protected. So many eyes watch them that the cast is scared to say anything wrong. Actress Francesca Real said she was afraid of Netflix because the company is so huge. She felt that even a small slip could get her into trouble. Speaking of secrecy, no visitors were allowed on set. Usually actors can bring friends or family to see them work, but that was not allowed for the kids of Stranger Things. Gaten Matarazzo said he could never bring anyone to set. He sometimes saw adult actors talking to people they brought, so maybe the rule applied only to the youngest ones. Still, Matarazzo said nobody would enjoy visiting anyway. Days were long, often 13 hours, and scenes were repeated again and again. No time for fun. Phones were not allowed either. Again, this was partly to prevent leaks. If actors take photos and someone hacks into their phone, spoilers could come out. But it was also to help them stay focused in the 80s atmosphere. So, what do you think about these rules? Do you think they're truly difficult to follow? Make sure to leave your thoughts in the comments. And as always, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos like this.